Okay, good. Yes. So we are going to start with nomenclature today. Okay, I'll be continuing. We have done with that related terms, some important terms you have studied, which were related to coordination compound. Now today we are going to start with the nomenclature, okay, naming the compound. So here, before you are naming the compound, when you are coming across these coordination compound students, you will see that there are three categories of ligand based on the charge on the coordination sphere. Okay, based on the charge on the coordination sphere, you will find there are three categories. Okay, and that first category is called as, let me tell you, the first one is called as cationic complex. Cationic complex, and the second one you will see is there is anionic complex. Anionic complex, and the last one which is there, the last one is the neutral one. Okay, so the third category you will see is there is neutral complex. Okay, neutral complex. So you will come across three kind of complex, and based on that, these different kind of complex, you have to name them according to that. Okay, so now let me tell you what is this cationic complex. If the complex, okay, I'm talking about that coordination sphere. You remember, no? How is that coordination sphere? This part which we write in the square bracket, which consists of the metal and the ligand. Okay, so suppose if this coordination sphere carries a positive charge, okay, if this coordination sphere carries a positive charge, then that is called as cationic complex. Okay, I'll write here. If the complex ion, okay, the complex ion has a positive charge. Okay, if the complex ion has a positive charge, yeah, so what I was telling student is, if the complex ion has a positive charge, yeah, if this complex ion carries a positive charge, then that is called as cationic complex. Like example, I'll give you here. Suppose if this is the example, Cu NH3 4, okay, and you can see this whole coordination sphere is there, no? They carry +2 charge, so they are carrying positive charge. Okay, if the whole coordination sphere carries a positive charge, they come under cationic complex. Okay, and then we are having next one, anionic complex. Anionic complex is if the complex ion, if the complex ion has a negative charge. Okay, if they have a negative charge, like for example, this is the common example which I have taken every time. You might be remembering this, FeCN6. Okay, so here, yeah, whole complex is carrying 4 minus charge, if you remember. Okay, that potassium FeCN6 complex every time I've taken. Now I'm taking only the ion part. Okay, so you can see this whole coordination sphere carries a minus charge. Then they are called as anionic complex. Okay, clear now? Now last one is neutral. Neutral means what? That means the complex doesn't carry any charge. Okay, so here you found that this whole complex carries a negative charge. Now neutral means if that whole complex carries a zero charge, means there is no charge on them. Okay, so if the complex, okay, entity, I will just write entity because they are not ion now. If the complex entity is a neutral species, okay, if they are neutral species, then that will be called as neutral complex. Like in this case, NiCO4, okay, square bracket, and there is no charge. This particular complex doesn't carry a charge. Okay, so they will come under neutral category. Clear now what is cationic complex, anionic complex, and neutral complex? If you want, I'll repeat once again. Cationic complex means your coordination sphere is there, no students? That coordination sphere which consists of the metal, and then you have many ligands attached to that. So if that whole sphere carries a positive charge, okay, that whole sphere has a positive charge on them, then they are called as cationic complex. Okay, and anionic means if your whole that coordination sphere which consists of the metal and the ligand thing, okay, if that sphere carries a negative charge, then that's anionic complex. But if your complex, okay, doesn't carry any charge, you don't find any charge present on that whole complex, they will come under neutral category. Okay, so nothing should be present here outside, nothing should be there. Okay, now in this case of anionic complex, you will find one positive ion present. Okay, positive ion because they are negatively charged, no? So they will attract positive ion, like for example now potassium, sodium, like that. Positive ions will be attached over here. Now in this cationic complex, since this complex carry positive charge, they will attract a negative ion. So you will find one negative ion like chloride, bromide, okay, sulfate, all these will be attracted towards this. Depends on what ions are present in that solution. Those will get attracted towards this positive. Then they will become neutral. But then on the whole, that coordination sphere is carrying what charge? Positive charge. Okay, here on the whole, the coordination sphere is carrying a negative charge. But here there is no charge. So you don't find anything outside. In this neutral case, you don't find any ions which are present outside. Okay, I believe it's understood. If you have anything to ask, you can ask me. Examples I've written here. You can write down these examples. Okay, write example for everything. Yes. Okay. Now we'll go for next. Okay. Now, before going into naming each and every complex, now I told you, there are three categories, that is cationic, anionic, and neutral. Before going into this particular one, there are certain general rules. Okay, so we will learn those general rules, and then I will tell you in particular how to name each and every complex. Okay, so we will start with that. This is almost like when you name organic. You remember organic? We had certain set of rules before we started naming, like that only for these coordination compounds also there are certain set of rules you need to keep in mind. You don't have to learn that rules will not be asked in your exam. Only the naming of the compound will be asked. Directly a compound will be given to you, okay, to name. So I will directly go for those rules now, starting with that first one. Okay, now when you name any salt, like inorganic salt, let's say if I have sodium chloride. If you remember how this sodium chloride is named, always a cation is named first, followed by the anion. Have you noticed in all the salts, you have the name of the cation followed by the anion. So we write this as sodium chloride, no? Sodium chloride. Okay, so cation is named first, followed by the anion. Similarly, when you are naming this complex part also, students, you will be naming the cation first, followed by the anion. Okay, that is the first rule. So now the complex can be of different type. No, like you have seen there is cationic complex. So you will find a cationic complex. If it is a cationic complex, you will find one negative ion present outside. Okay, one negative ion like chloride I will take now here, Cl minus, to neutralize this positive ions charge. Okay, but then when you are naming, no, you will name this complex part first. Okay, so this whole thing should be named first, cationic part. Suppose if it is anionic complex, okay, if the whole complex carries a minus charge, you will find something positive here. Okay, so then this should be named first, this positive part should be named first. Okay, potassium will be named first, and then you will go for that complex part. Okay, so that is the first rule. So first rule is always, okay, cation is named first. Okay, cation is named first. Then you will follow the anion. Okay, followed by the anion. Okay, followed by the anion. Okay, that's the first rule, basic rule. So I will list all the rules. You can also write down later, but firstly you listen to all the rules. Okay, this is the first one. Now going for the next one. After this, you choose the cation part, then you will go for that complex part, no? Like now, for example, here, you will choose this now, first case if I am taking, okay, you will choose the cation entity first. Then you have to name that coordination sphere. Inside that, you have to go, okay? Inside this, you have to go and name. So inside that, see now, if I take a coordination sphere, inside that, you will find there is a metal, and then you will find the ligand present. So now when you are naming this, always the ligand should be named first. Okay. When you go inside the sphere, ligand should be named first, followed by the metal atom. Okay. At the end, we go for the metal atom. So first is the ligand. Now let's say if the ligand is of same kind. Okay, now in this particular complex which I'm taking, suppose if the ligand present is of same type. Okay, like now in this case, imagine one metal. Okay, randomly I'm taking one metal. And if you are having NH3 6 times. Okay, inside this coordination sphere. So you are having 6 times NH3. So then here you have to use a prefix. They are having same kind of ligand. Then a prefix has to be used. Okay. So now the prefix which we use is like if you have 2, this is similar to organic when you are having like 2 substituent, no, we make use of di. So here if it is 2, we make use of di. If it is 3, then it's a tri. Okay, if it is 4, then it is tetra. 5 means a penta. 6 means hexa. 7 means hepta, and then so on. Okay, it will go on like that. So you know after that how is the name. So if you find that the ligand, okay, if there is same kind of ligand, and if that same kind of ligands are many in number, then you have to use this prefix. 2 means di. Now here it will be hexa. So this will be called as hexaamine is the name of this ligand. Okay, so hexaamine like that. Okay. So I'll repeat once again. The second point what I said is when you are naming inside the coordination sphere, okay, which consists of a metal and ligand, always the ligand should be named first. Okay, which consists of metal and ligand, always you will go for the ligand first. But if the ligand is of same kind, then you have to make use of this prefix. Okay, so that is the second rule. So now I will just write when the ligand attached to the metal is of same kind, then the prefix like this will be used. Okay, when the ligand attached to the metal is of same kind, then the prefix, okay, you can see here, then the prefix for 2 di, for 3 tri, for 4 tetra, 5 penta, 6 hexa, 7 hepta, like that, okay, is used. So that's if you are having same. Let's go for the next one. Now inside the coordination sphere, suppose if the ligand is different, okay, if the ligand present is of different category, like in this way, there is a metal. If I have NH3 present, and then there is Cl is also present, then there is Br also present. Now there are different kinds of ligand. So then how are you supposed to name them? So then it should be going according to the alphabetical order. Remember, okay. In organic also we do the same thing. If you remember, when many substituents are attached to the carbon chain, we name them according to the alphabetical order, correct? So like that also even here, when you are having different kinds of ligands, see this is amine, NH3, okay, we call them as amine is the name. Later I will give you the name, don't worry about that, okay. Different ligands name I will be giving. Now this Cl is called as chlorido. Okay, the name of this is chlorido. And then Dr is called as bromido. Okay, this is the name of this ligand. So now according to alphabetical, if you are going, which comes first? Amine comes first. So you will name amine first. Amine, then B comes afterwards. Then you are having C. This will be the third one, chlorido. Okay, so it will be amine, bromido, chlorido, then the metal name. Okay, so that's how it should go. So that is your third rule. When the ligands attached to the metal are different. Okay. If the ligand attached to the metal are different, then they should be named according to alphabetical order. They should be named according to alphabetical order. Now these three rules are clear, students. Anything you have to ask? Rules you will have to remember, because based on that only we can proceed with naming. Okay. First one, you will name the cation first, followed by the anion. Okay, after that, you will choose that cation entity. Once you choose that cation entity, inside that you will find there is a metal and the ligand. Always choose a ligand first. Okay. I can give you that as one more point, but then I didn't give you. There only you can understand. Okay, always ligand will be chosen first. You will have to name the ligand first. So now if the ligand is of same kind, if they are of same kind, then you have to make use of this prefix. Okay, like di, tri, tetra, and so on. But if you have different kinds of ligand present, then you will go according to the alphabetical order. Okay, so these are the three rules which I listed now. Then I will move on. First, you make a note of these three rules. Okay, now see the next rule. I'll go for the fourth one. This is when you are having a polydentate ligand, like if you are having more than two binding site, okay, those kind of ligands. Okay, in that case, like for example, suppose if this is the one, okay, En twice, I'm taking this one. If this is attached to the metal, it's a didentate ligand, no? And you remember the name of this ligand? What is the name of this ligand? You can tell me what is the name of this ligand? En. Yeah, ethylene diamine or ethane 1, 2 diamine, correct? Ethylene diamine, you can call it as ethylene diamine, or you can even call it as ethane 1, 2 diamine. So now see students, already in this ligand, the word di has come. The prefix di has already come in this. Okay. So then you will not use a di once again. Okay. Another prefix you have to make use. You can't use the same prefix once again. Okay. So we make use of another prefix, and that will be like if there is two, then we make use of bis. Okay. So now this particular ligand which is present now here, metal, you can see. So the name should be bis ethane 1, 2 diamine. So you can't write di, then again ethane 1, 2 diamine. That will be wrong. If you write like this, diethane 1, 2 diamine, it's a wrong way of naming the compound. If that is the case, if already the didentate ligand, okay, or your polydentate ligand already has this prefix used, then you should make use of another prefix. Like here, see, if it is 2, then bis. If it is 3, then it is tris. If it is 4, then it is tetrakis. If it is 5, then it is pentakis. And then like that only it continues, okay? So 6 means hexakis, 7 means heptakis, like that, okay? It continues. You understood the order it should be going, okay? So that's the fourth rule. So fourth rule is if you have a didentate, tridentate or a polydentate ligand which already has a prefix, okay, like this di, then you are supposed to make use of another prefix, okay? That's the fourth rule. So I can give you for writing. When the name of the ligand, you can write down when the name of the ligand already includes a prefix, already includes a prefix, then a new term like to for bis and like that is used. Okay, you can write down. That is the fourth rule. Okay, now let's see the next rule, fifth one. Yeah, I'll continue here itself. Okay, in case if you have not finished writing, you can continue writing, but you keep listening. Now, fifth rule is when you're naming this coordination compound, the letter is there, no students, you should start with a small letter, okay? Not like when you name organic compound, we start with a capital letter. Here it is opposite, okay? When you are naming the whole coordination compound, your starting letter should be the small letter, okay? So, name of the coordination compound, it started with small letter. Name of the coordination compound is started with the small letter. Okay, it is started with small letter. So that is your fifth rule. Okay, now next one is, the next rule is, when you name the complex entity, okay, when the whole complex entity is written, complex entity is your this part, okay. When you write the full name of this complex entity, you should write it as one word. It should be written as one word, okay. That means you shouldn't have any gap between the words which you have written, okay, because you will have a metal here, this will have a metal, and it will have many ligands also present, okay. So you will not give a gap after writing the ligand name. You will not give a gap for another ligand. Everything should be written as one particular word, okay. The coordination entity, then some little changes are there for different, like when you are writing for different complexes, little changes I will tell you, but for coordination entity it is same, okay. When you write whole coordination entity, it is written as one single word, okay. So the name of the complex entity or coordination entity, I'll just give complex entity, is written as one word. Entity is written as one word without any gap. Without any gap. Yeah, you can make a note now. These are the general rules, okay, which is applicable for all of the coordination compound which I said, whether it is cationic, anionic, or if you are having your neutral complex. These rules will go for everyone, okay. But in particular, as I said, no, when I'm going for cationic, I tell you what is order. For anionic, what is order, everything I will tell you in detail. But this rules goes for all the compounds. Yeah, now I will give you the names of the ligand. Okay, as I said, now there are many ligands. There are different names for that. Okay, that you have to remember. So we'll go for next one, the name of the ligand which you need to remember. Okay, name of ligands. Like for example, if you have now Cl minus. Okay, now when you name a ligand, what they do is, now Cl minus is chloride, no? It's a chloride ion. Wherever you have E, it should be replaced by O. Okay. This E is replaced by O. So instead of writing now here, supposed to be chloride. CHLORIDE. This E should be replaced by O. So it will be chlorido. Okay. That's the IUPAC nomenclature for ligand. Okay. The name which is used. So instead of Cl minus, we are going to write this as chlorido. Okay. E you replace by O. And if I have F minus now, this will be called as fluorido. Okay, this will be called as fluorido. It's fluoride, but you remove that E and replace by O. So it will be fluorido. Okay, only E you replace by O. That's it. Then next, we have Br minus. This is bromide. So this will be called as bromido. Okay, ending name should be O. If it is I, iodide, no, negative ion. But here it will be, the ligand will be called as IDIDO. Okay, end with O. And then there are older, you will find some old nomenclature also, which is also accepted. Okay, the old nomenclature is where we just replace IDE by O. Okay, the old nomenclature is there, no, where they had replaced IDE by O. So that was called as chloro actually. The whole part will go out. This part would be removed and then you will have O. So that was chloro, the old nomenclature. And fluorine, this will be called as fluoro. Br minus will be called as bromo. Then I minus was called as iodo. So in some book, if you find across these names, that is also correct because even now they accept these names. Okay. But then this is the new one. Okay. After 2004, the new set of nomenclature which has come was this. Yeah, oxide will be called as oxido. Okay. So these are for the negative ions. Few I have listed, few more we will list. Okay. Cn minus. Cn minus is called as cyanido. Okay. Cn minus, this is called as cyanido. Okay. Even cyano is accepted. They don't update. No, they have not like from 2004, after that they have not done any changes. Okay. That was the last thing which we came across. So that was the last thing, okay? So CN minus, this will be called as cyanido. You can even come across cyano in some of the book. This is also correct, okay? So cyano, but you better write as cyanido, okay? The updated name itself. This was the old one. If they have given and you have to write the formula, then it's fine, okay? Because they have given it in that way. So next one, we are having SCN minus. SCN minus is thiocyanate. Okay, this one's name is thiocyanate. And then NCS, if you are coming across, this is isothiocyanate. This you have learned, no, in ambidentate. It's the same thing. Okay, isothiocyanate. And even if you see NC there, that will be isocyanide. Okay, like this NC binding. If you are finding NC minus, then that will be isocyanide. Isocyanide, that one. Okay, and then what else you are having? Oxalato. You have studied about oxalato, COO minus and CO minus, or could be written as C2O4, 2 minus. This is oxalato. Oxalato. Okay, see, we are ending with O. Oxalate ion, but then when it is written in the ligand, it's ending with O. And then if you come across this CO3 2 minus, it's carbonate ion. But carbonate E you replace by O. So it will be carbonato. Okay, carbonato. And then SO4 2 minus. This is sulfate. Again, E is there. Remove that E and put O. So sulfato. Okay, sulfato will be the name. These are the negative ions. Okay, then there are certain neutral molecules also, no? And then even ambidentate, that if you want that also I will write here. This you are familiar, no? NO2 minus. NO2 minus, that means nitrogen is linking here. If this is the case, then you will write this as nitrito N. Okay. If you see that it is written like this, ONO minus, then it is linking through oxygen. Nitrito O. Okay. So nitrito O. These are the ambidentate ligand. And now I'll go for a few neutral molecules like this NH3. Okay, NH3, it's ammonia molecule, but then here we write as amine. A-double-M-I-N-E. See the spelling, students. A-double-M-I-N-E. Okay, amine. These are neutral molecule. Their charge on the ligand is 0. Okay, charge on this ligand are 0. Water, H2O. Water is called as aqua. Okay, aqua. So these have little different name which you need to remember. Amine, NH3 is called as amine, and water is called as aqua. And then CO, this is carbonyls. Capital C and capital O, don't get confused. This capital C and small o is cobalt. You will see this and this together, then you should not get confused. Okay, capital C and capital O is carbonyl group. Capital C and small o is cobalt. Okay, so here this is carbonyl ligand. Carbonyl. And then if you see this one, NH2, this one, NH2, CH2, CH2, NH2, which can also be given in this form, EN. That's ethane 1,2 diamine. Okay, ethane 1,2 diamine. You can even write ethylene diamine, but most of the time they use this. So you better use as they are using in NCERT. Okay, so ethane 1,2 diamine. And then this one, CH3NH2. Even this you will see. This is methylamine. Okay, it's methylamine. One carbon, no? So one carbon is called as methyl group. And you are having amine group attached to it. So it's methylamine. Okay, these are the names of the ligand which you need to keep in mind. Only then you will be able to name the compounds. Yeah, now make a note of all of these.